Hi. So this week on one of the forums I spend far too long on, one of the modular forums, someone had the temerity to question my choice of modules in my tiny rack. I mean, how very dare they, honestly. No, actually, they made a very good point, some very good points. What they said was, what they pointed out or asked was, why do you have the 2 HP mult in your rack when you could just use stackable cables? And why do you have the ALM S.B.G, the Stompbox Gateway, when you could just use an effects in your, just put an effects in there? They said if you take out the 2 HP mult and you take out the ALM S.B.G, that would leave you 6 HP to put an effects module in. Wow, I mean, this did get me thinking. It's a very good point. I started looking on Modular Grid, and with 6 HP, I could put in the Milky Way from Endorphin ES, which looks really good, or the FX Aid XL from Happy Nerding, or a Spring Reverb from Music Thing Modular, or I could put in a Disting Mark II and a 2 HP reverb from 2 HP, which would give me many more options than I have now. So this is a very good idea and something to think about. So I may do this in the future, or just take out the ones I have now, take out the mult and the S.B.G and buy something else, and I can swap them back in. But what would I lose if I didn't have the mult in and the S.B.G? I think the mult I can get away with, and stackable cables is a very good option, so I may do that. But the S.B.G I really like, and obviously what I'd mainly lose is being able to pipe in guitar effects pedals into my modular. In particular, I like the Carbon Copy from MXR, which is an analog delay, and I think that would be quite hard to replicate in modular. I don't know of an analog delay in modular. But what I would also lose is some additional uses that I've discovered along the way for the S.B.G. I haven't actually seen too much about any additional uses of the S.B.G, so I thought I'd make a little video just showing people out there in YouTube land what I've discovered it can do. There are probably many other things it could do that I haven't discovered, but these have been my little discoveries. Number one is as an attenuator. So if I get a sound going on the plats and take an output from oct, I can put it straight into the harmonics and you get that, but that's slightly too much for me. So what I can do is I can plug it into the input of the S.B.G and then plug it from the output back into the harmonics. If I take this down, we get no effect, because what it's doing, of course, is the S.B.G is designed to reduce the signal to go out into an effects box, and this has the effect of attenuating it. So you can add just a little bit of effect. I mean, obviously I have other attenuators in this system, but you may not, and so to know that the S.B.G can be an attenuator, you never know when that's going to come in handy. You never know when you might need another attenuator. The second use I've found for the S.B.G is as a mult itself, what I'd call a very voltage mult, because you have this input here which can accept CV control, and that's designed to feed expression out to effects boxes which can accept expression. I have the Strymon L Capistan, and you can send a 5 volt expression out of that. Is it 5 volt? Could be 3 volt, not sure. I just plug it in and see which works normally. But So you have a 3 volt and a 5 volt out from this expression. So we can take another channel from oct and feed it in there. And then we can take, I'm running out pink cables. We can take a 3 volt out maybe. Let's start this going again. And feed it into the morph maybe. And then we can take this output and feed it into the timbre. Now, obviously it doesn't matter too much about the different voltages because we've got the attenuators there, but there could be situations where you don't have an attenuator and having the different voltages could be useful. I'm not sure. You never know. Now the third use I've come across for the S.B.G is probably my favourite one, and that's as an overdrive pedal. And this works because this side of the ALM is designed to boost the volume. You take it from the effects pedal and it's boosted so you can pipe it back into your modular, which of course expects a louder signal. But if you don't take it out, this has the effect of overdriving the signal. So if we take this out of the tangle and plug it in here, we can then boost the signal and overdrive it. Switch it on again. And you need to adjust the volumes to get the sort of sound you want. I think that adds a nice lot of sort of hair to the sound. It's an analog circuit, so you're adding analog distortion or overdrive. And if we hear it again without, I think it sounds a bit vanilla compared to that. So there you go, the ALM S.B.G. It's a great way to bring effects pedals into your modular, especially ones that you can't really replicate in a modular itself. In my case, an analog delay. But it is also can be an attenuator. It can be a mult with a 3 volt and a 5 volt output, which could be really useful. And best of all, it can be an overdrive. So there you're getting a few more uses out of it than you might at first expect. And this is the great thing about modular. I think you're always discovering stuff. I mean, the person who pointed out the flaws in my choices, as I say, I think has a really good point, and I am very tempted by one of those effects modules I mentioned, or perhaps the Disting Mark II and a 2 HP reverb, which would really boost my options. But at the moment, I'm still intending to keep it as I have it now, because I think of it as a sort of meta random, if that's a word. These are the choices I've made based largely on what I happen to be looking at the time, and I've filled up the rack and this is what I've got. And what do these modules want from me, I ask myself. What sort of sounds can I make with what I've got? It's a kind of random, because I picked them without really knowing what I was picking. Obviously I had an idea, but until you get them and try them out, you don't really know, or I didn't, despite all the YouTube videos. So there you go. I think the S.B.G has earned its place for the time being as an effects send to guitar pedals, but also as a useful little box in itself, especially the overdrive, I'm thinking. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye.